Hey guys, it's Brittany here again for Career Presentation 2. This time I decided to do some research on being the director of a child care center. I talked to a gal that's a director at a center in the next city over from us. It's a center that is licensed through the state to care for 110 kids, and it was an interesting position, I think. So basically, the job requirements for this position does not necessarily require a degree. However, if you do not have a degree in a child development related field, there are a lot of extra classes that you have to take. So you can either qualify through what they call Career Ladder, which is a lot of really specific classes based on child development, discipline, detecting abuse, and dealing with things like that. And so there's different levels of that called the Career Ladder. You can also take a class offered through the state. Most of the time that's either a 1-week full-time course, or you can do night classes that last over a series of a few weeks. The ones that I found typically range in cost anywhere from $300 to $500 to be able to get that certification. So you can also qualify to be a director that way. There is also an age requirement. You have to be at least 21. The responsibilities include pretty much everything involved in running the business of the daycare. That would be anything from busing the kids to and from school, working with the cooks on the menus to make sure that they're fulfilling nutritional requirements through the state. The biggest requirement is to deal with licensing and compliance with state regulations. As a daycare facility that's licensed, they're subject to inspections from the state that are both scheduled and non-scheduled. And so the state can really pop up anytime to do a check and make sure what they're looking for in those unscheduled visits are ratios to make sure that the teacher-child ratio isn't too high. And that is where most of the violations come, because if teachers call in sick, or extra kids just pop in, or somebody's just out of the room when that inspector comes in, then that results in a write-up through the state. So that's a pretty stressful part of their job. Another thing that they do is deal with all of the documentation required for licensing. This includes everything from teacher training and development that needs to be documented really closely, as well as information on every child. So they have to keep track of immunization records, accident reports, discipline, and all of the required paperwork there. So all of those things can be spot checked at any time. So it just requires a lot of diligence and a lot of being really organized to make sure that that happens. In addition to the licensing and doing day-to-day care with the kids, there's also the billing and the paying bills and working, doing payroll, and all of the administrative tasks of running a business also. This center has an owner that is not super involved in the program. She kind of comes in and out, but the director really is in charge of pretty much everything there. And so she's got a big job on her hands. The benefits of this job are really the biggest benefit that she talked about was being able to have her own kids at the center at either free or reduced tuition rates, which I think would be a huge benefit, especially if you're a mom that needs to be working. It's a really great environment to be able to have your kids with you before and after school at a discounted rate. I know that would be helpful to me. I know that I work from home so that I can be close to my kids, and so that would be a good option there. The hours and things aren't quite as flexible as other positions because they are open with only 6 days that they're closed during the year other than weekends, so they never are open on weekends. But it is a 12-hour open to close. They open at 6:30 in the morning and close at 6:30 at night to accommodate work schedules for moms. But she just talked about how much she loves working with these kids, and really that they're able to make a big difference for some of these children whose parents are working. In the demographic that they're working with, they work with a lot of kind of poverty level children, parents who are immigrants, parents who are single parents, and things like that. And so they really do feel like they can offer some stability and things like that. So it's a rewarding career, not necessarily one that pays very well. Typically it pays anywhere from $10 to $18 an hour, just depending on where you are. This position that she's in, she's worked there for about 10 years and she's making $16 an hour. So definitely not a high paying field, but one that's very rewarding. And I think it would be kind of a cool job to pursue if you're looking to make a real difference in the lives of lots of different children. Anyway, director of a child care center. Thanks, guys.